Good morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm going to try making yeast waffles. I've never made them before, so this is going to be something new. I usually make them with just baking powder, but this time I'm going to do yeast. And then I found a sourdough one, which I'm going to get to that one too. So I'm going through my cookbooks. I didn't realize how many different recipes I have. But we're going to start with a half a cup of water here. So this is going to have to rise for about an hour and a half. So, there'll be a big break on this. We need 2 tablespoons of sugar. Now, if you want this to rise a longer period of time, no, if you don't want it, I'm sorry, if you do not wish it to rise and have a longer period, they say use 3 tablespoons of yeast right away, and then you can cook it right away. But I want it to rise for about an hour and a half, so that's why I'm using 2. I'm going to be using 2 tablespoons of, wait a minute, not the sugar, hold on, cut that. Really messing up now because I have other things I'm doing. It's a half a cup of water, 2 tablespoons of honey. Now, if you want to cook these right away, you're going to need 3 tablespoons of yeast. I would like mine in about an hour and a half, so I am going to be putting 2 tablespoons of yeast in mine to rise. Stir that up and put it to the side. There I was talking to you, not even explaining myself. Okay, now this is going to be set aside. I'm going to cover it and just put it over here in my alcove. And let this do what it has to do. And I will be back in an hour and a half, and then we'll be putting the rest of this together. Okay, let me fix the camera. Here it is. My yeast has risen. All right, now we are going to add 1.5 cups of buttermilk. I just wanted you to see how light, because it did take very nicely. Oh, there's a little bit left. Alright, and now we're going to also need 2/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. So I am going to use my olive blend for this. I took butter out, it's sitting back there. It has to defrost so I can make my modified butter. What else are we going to add? We want 3 egg yolks. So we are going to be beating egg whites separately. So be aware that we're going to have to do this. Crack your egg. Split the, well, if it doesn't go. If it doesn't split right, just use your fingers to separate it. Even I have it. Sometimes it does not work. Make sure you have nothing I mean literally nothing in the egg white, so they're not going to beat up the way they're supposed to. Right now I got eggshells I'm trying to get out. Come on. So you can use your hands and the egg white will fall through your fingers and the yolk will sit on your head. See, this one, perfect. See how easy that is? You want to get a little extra on. That has to be in a clean, dry bowl with nothing else, or they will not beat up. Okay, now we're going to add a cup of wheat germ. Let's see if I have the wrong one here. Say no, 1 cup. This is 1/4 measure. We're going to stir this very well, they recommend. We should talk about bones today because a lot of people are getting arthritis, okay? Bones are made up of a lot of minerals and protein, and they repair themselves because you break your leg, they repair. So, you know, if you break a bone, it's always going to repair. Just because you get older doesn't mean that your bones can't constantly strengthen themselves up. It's not just when you're little, because if it was just when you're little, if you break a bone when you're older, it'd never heal. But bones are made up of minerals and protein, and I really mean this. Now, you know if your digestive system is not up to par as you get older, because you eat or do things you shouldn't, they can't be absorbed because your digestion is very sensitive. I have found making sourdough, I have gotten benefits in directions I did not think of. But anyway, the thing is that if you get your joints and they say they're going to replace your hips or your shoulders and stuff, now inside the bones is where your folic acid is made. That bone marrow is literally where your folic acid and your blood is made to go through your body. Some bones it does more, they do more, and the other ones are less than, but it's in the bones, okay? So I can't remember which bones make it the most, but anyway, that's it. Now if you're going to get your hips replaced, since now I know how they do it, they sit there and they're going to cut the hip off, right? They're going to cut it straight across the bone. And then they're going to take a metal one, or they've tried a new material, I can't remember offhand right now. And they shape it like a hip. But to get it to stay in that bone, they have to drill, they're going to pour glue in the center of that bone. That's where your bone marrow is made, where your folic acid comes from. And you need that to stay warm because your cells die and they have to replenish them. So they pour that glue in, and then they shove that hip in right into the center of the bone. Stabilize it, pop it back in this artificial hip where it goes, sew you up, and you start walking on it. But that bone's going to die. it dies. So as you walk on, that's why they tell you not to do so much athletic running and stuff, because as it sits there and the glue's in there, that bone is dying slowly, 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 slowly. Most artificial hips will only last 15 years. After 15 years, that bone is dead. And you know what they do then? They take out the artificial hip, and then you have a floating hip. In other words, there's no hip there at all. They try to strengthen up the muscles so that you can walk. And this is what happens. So they do it with your arms. Do it in. They have to pour that glue in. Now, I know that once a cell dies, if you lose that gristle that's between the bones, when those cells die, it cannot be replaced. It can't. I'm sorry. There's no amount of vitamins, no amount of nutrition, no matter nothing. There is no way that this is going to work. It will not be replaced. Now we're going to add 1.5 cups of whole wheat flour. So we have to take care of these things, because if they don't, when you see people with arthritis, that's what happens to it. That gristle is gone. They start to get the aches of it as it starts to break down, because they're not eating right. They're not replacing it. And remember, they're genetically changing the food. I just saw a video on it. If you read the canned soups and stuff, on some of them, they have literally used, they have done something to the bile growth or something to the food. So it's not helping you. That's fine. How many did I say? Yeah, 1 1/4 cups. Whole wheat. They say pastry. I don't have whole wheat pastry, so I'm just going to use regular whole wheat flour. I can get away with it. I've done it enough times. No, I can. Okay, now we are going to add a teaspoon of salt. Don't worry, we're going to mix all this up. And that's what happens to your bones if you don't feed or eat right. And if you think you eat right and you're ending up with arthritis, then you know you haven't been eating right, because it takes many, many, many years for that to happen. I mean, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a blink. Oh, it just happened. It's a lifelong breakdown of your cartilage in your joints and not replacing the nutrients it needs to help you. You need 1/2 cup of powdered milk. By the way, that was a teaspoon of salt. So older people shrink. That's because the cartilage in their spine is breaking down. What? Okay, we got 2 of them opened, all right. Now they want you to mix this thoroughly. So that's why people shrink, is they're losing the cartilage between the bones and the spine. This is not by chance, and it's not hereditary. This is a real issue that happens from poor eating. And even if you eat well, if you do things, you will also cause it. So you can eat as well as you want, but if you're doing certain things that counteract that, or your digestive system's not up, you're going to have this problem anyway. There's nothing, you know, you can eat better. I mean, you can't make the dead cells come back, but the ones that you have, at least protect them, you know? Just clean up, because I'm going to be using something here. And I know what I'm talking about, because I had just given birth to a firstborn, and we were involved in a severe, very bad car accident. It cracked the A-frame. We were dragged 4 lanes and halfway down the block before the man even realized that he had been hit by us, because he ran a red light. And it had been just starting to rain, and you know the first 5 minutes of rain, if you don't drive, you're going to find out now, it's got oil and stuff on that road, and it takes like 5 minutes for the rain to wash it off so you have a grip. So we didn't even have a grip, though my husband slammed on the brakes. We could not stop. Now we're going to beat these egg whites. But anyway, I had a Playtex girdle on to hold my belly in because I had just given birth. So it helps hold the muscles. So, you know, women, a year after they have their baby, they always have this big belly sitting in front of them. I didn't, because they call it belly band in the West Indies, where they bind the woman after she has the child to help those muscles come back. Well, my husband didn't have enough ace bandages, so he went and bought a Playtex girdle and put me in it. Anyway, because I was slammed so hard and our son was only days old, I threw myself over his head. There were no seat belts in the cars at that time, and to protect his head, because I knew we were going in for an impact, I threw my whole body over him. I hit the dashboard because I was low. If I was any higher, I would have gone through the windshield. And then I was slapped back. The girdle, because of that impact, had rolled up into my lower back. I almost broke my back. So I should have arthritis back there. I went to a chiropractor and he was adjusting me like every day. I had to do special exercises to strengthen it up. But most people would end up with arthritis from that. I'm 70 and I don't have any arthritis because I ate right. I hate pain. I don't think any of us love it. You know, it's the one thing. And I was always told when I was little that the body is going to remember every little thing that you did to it. So if you hurt it, it'll be good to you while you're young, but you get old, it's going to say, remember when you did this garbage to me? All right, we're going to beat the egg whites now until stiff. That accident, I was in my 20s, my early 20s. So, I'm curving, and that's why that day I didn't put any makeup on. I wanted to show you. This is my face, these are my hands. I don't have arthritis, and I don't have arthritis in my back. Which I should. And as hard as I hit one knee, I should have arthritis in it, and there is no arthritis. So if you eat right throughout your life, you'll be healthy. Now if you're older and you have a mild case of arthritis, you can still build up on the gristles and those nutrients the bones need, so you'll have a mild arthritis. But if you have severe arthritis and there's nothing there, there's nothing anybody can do. Because once a cell dies, be it in an organ or in your bones or on your skin, it's gone. That's it. Only God can give life. Now we're beating these until they're a stiff peak, because they're going to be the leavening for this with the yeast. Not quite, almost. So your bones are just as important as everything else. But everything goes back to that digestive system. Every book I've read, it goes back to that digestive system. The digestive system from your mouth to when it comes out has to be in peak performance to make sure the organs get what they need and everything else. The reason I tell you, I was involved in a car accident, I wanted to prove to you that I don't have arthritis. And as hard and as bad as my back was at the time, I mean, I couldn't even boy, getting up and it would pop right out. I had nothing holding it. I mean, I had to see the chiropractor every day. This went on for a couple of years, and finally I could go every other day, every 3 days before my back popped out, and my back is strong now. So that's really a good thing. But arthritis is caused from you not eating right, a lifetime of not eating right. Okay, now we are going to fold this in. You don't use a spoon when you fold. You use a flat spatula for this, or a whisk. I'll use a spatula because I'm sure most of you will have that first before you have a whisk, and I'll show you how to do it. Let me put my cookbook away. I know what I have to do now. I just can't never remember all the ingredients and things. When you fold the egg whites in, it gives that lift that you're looking for. So I'm going to hold this to the side. Now you're going to take the spatula. Watch how it goes. It goes in this direction. You bring it up and over and around. So you're actually going like this and turning it around. And you turn the bowl as you do this until you get it all mixed in. And it'll give a lift to the waffles. It gives a lift to cakes. It gives a lift to whatever you need that lift for. So your leavenings can be egg whites. It can be baking soda, baking powder, and yeast. Those are your leavenings. See how it's mixing, and I just keep on turning it and going around in the bowl so I make sure it's everywhere. And when you don't see it anymore, you know it's all mixed in. See how it's going? See how nice it is now? It's coming together very, very nicely. Now if you use a whisk, you do the same motion. You have to do the same motion, but I figured it'd be easier if you could see it with a spatula. I usually use a whisk on it because it's a little faster, but it's all right. Let's get this up. This is my waffle pan. It's a Cuisinart. I love this pan. It is so nice. I've had it for many, many, many years. Before you can even use these you have to grease. No matter what kind of waffle pan you have, or if you have one that works with a stove, you have to grease these. before I ever turn it on, I'm going to grease them. I don't know how much I'm going to use yet. I do give them a good grease or they will stick. Well, they stick a little, but you know, you don't want them to fall apart. Now I'm going to need some more. I didn't pour enough. Because I have the top ones to do as well. Just don't do the bottom. You must do the top as well. I will tell you that my back does get tired. Like anybody else, the back does get tired. You probably said, what sent you on this trip of nutrition? Pain and old age. I didn't want to get haggard at the age of 30 or 40. Oh, my hair's sticking out, usually does. I didn't want to be in aches and pains in old age. I was just noticing too many things. I heard the old women talk, and all they did was talk about their aches and pains and this and that. So, you know, I just didn't want it. I said, there's got to be a better way to life. You know, if we're supposed to live to 120 to 125 years, I want to put this on 3, and I think 3 is going to be too high, but I'll put 3 and we'll see how it goes. Mine goes from 1 to 6. But that's what set me on this. And yeah, I was the oddball. People thought I was stupid and that, you know, you just eat. But I found out through trial and error, that's what happened. My husband looked so young. The Vietnam veterans asked him, oh, come off of it, you weren't there. And they looked into his eyes, because there's a look in the eyes that vets get when they've been through the theater of war. No matter what country, you know, it's there. You can't hide it, because they've seen so much death and horror. And they couldn't understand why he looked so young, and they looked so old. So I knew I was doing a good deed. It was when my husband and I had a fight over a medication. The doctor said, it's one little pill. I said, no, don't take it. Don't take this. That'll be the end of it. And sure enough, by the time he passed, I'm matter what I did nutritionally, the medication was too strong, and you couldn't, the medication blocked anything I tried to do to try to help him. By the time he passed, he had a big box of medications. He took so much medicine, I was sick of it. I was sick of it. And every time they added one more to it. And then when I found out afterwards, I was very angry, let's say. When I realized what medication really did. And I just had an alarm going off in my head when he said, it's just one little pill. He said, it's a dinky, teeny, teeny little pill. And I broke the VCR. I was so mad, I broke the VCR. I burnt soup. Listen, burning soup takes an art. I mean, because there's so much liquid, you just can't burn it. I burnt it. I had nightmares. I was cranky. I was just a handful, but I was really, really mad. I couldn't get anybody to believe me. Do not do this. Do not take that. Well, I'm a widow now, so that answers how it ended, the argument. I lost that argument. I think I lost all the way around. So, on my little rampage of proving nutrition works. It's a stupid thing. But I'm passionate, very, very passionate about this. Because I want all of you to have your health. I want you to be healthy. I want you to enjoy your life. And I want you, though I can't force it, I pray that you do have a beautiful life. And when you're in your senior years, you and your loved one are together and can have a wonderful time. So I guess you could call me a rebel in my own right. Oh well, what can I say? Seniors do this, I guess. Now it's recommended to try to make corn waffles. I have never made those, but it sounds so interesting. But they do recommend that if you're going to make it, it has to be the yellow cornmeal. You don't want the white. So we just have to wait till this gets hot. Okay, it's baked. So now it's time and we'll see how this works. Oh well, I just spilled that, didn't I? Wait for it to begin to let me know. Right now the red light's on. It's just telling me you can't do anything, which I already know. Now, I think it takes about 3 minutes. I'm not sure how long it takes. We just have to wait. I don't even know if I put enough on each one, but I'll find out when I open this. So when it's ready to open, I'll be back. Okay. Oh, let's stick it to the top. Come on. I think I have to add a little more. Not quite enough. And I think I can turn it down. It's too much. I think I have too much heat. So I'm going to turn it down to 2. Now, so the next batch will be done on 2. So we'll add a little more. I know these are good. I usually make a double batch, but one son is working today, so one single batch should be more than enough. Let's see how these come out. Check the texture. There's the texture. They're very good. My thing is I didn't get enough in each little section. And you can see why you have to brush those with oil, because they will stick. I'm definitely eating this one. Anyway, I'm going to be continuing doing this. See you at the end. Well, I seem to have gotten them right this time. They're a nice color. What's nice is if you have any left over, I like to stick them in the toaster the next day and toast them lightly. You don't want to toast them too dark or they'll burn. And have them for breakfast. Come on. So I showed you at the end, but I came closer to filling the sleeves up, so I wanted to show you. I did it. Ladles, different sizes, are excellent to have in the kitchen. Now, I'll be back. Okay, here are the waffles, yeast waffles. They smell good. I'm actually going to serve them with apple butter and Canadian bacon today, and I think that'll be very nice. As they say, take care and enjoy your day.